My mom was pregnant for 10 years. She even shares in her testimony what she went through, pregnant not with a child.
Please remind us, what did your grandmother, Adronia was wicked. What did she do
to bewitch my mom?
Bewitch, yeah.
My mom was pregnant for 10 years. She even shares in her testimony what she went through, pregnant not with a child.
Please remind us, what did your grandmother, Adronia was wicked. What did she do to
bewitch my mom?
Bewitch, yeah.
She got a water plant that is in form, the roots are in form of a uterus, the shape of a uterus. And she planted this water plant in the backyard of her compound. And when it grows, it's like the way the passion fruit is, it spreads.
It coils and spreads.
Yes. So she declared that as it is spreading, that is how the fibroids will spread on her uterus.
Oh.
And then she got. My grandmother was so wicked.
No, witchcraft is wicked. It will make anyone who practices it wicked.
Yes, and she said that as the root expands, that is how her uterus will expand, carrying nothing but fibroids. So she kept on watering that plant every morning. That's the dedication she had, watering it every morning, because it's a water plant, so it has to be in water all the time. So she would water it, making her declarations. And indeed, my mom would feel like, how when the wind blows and those leaves are moving, my mother would feel movements in her stomach like somebody who has a baby. And she was pregnant, and she would even sometimes, the pain would be so much that she would feel like climbing even the walls because of the pain. So now, when we prayed, my mom, the stomach went back, and my grandmother got pregnant. In her old age, she could not handle the pain that my mother was.
In other words, it wasn't a pregnancy, it was a reversal of what was inside your mom
going to my grandmother. It
was transferred to your grandmother.
And the pain that my mom was experiencing is the pain that my grandmother started experiencing. The stomach swelling to the point of her coming to repent and confess to my mom and bless her. She said, "Let me bless you." You see, at the altar, God can cause your enemy to bless you like Balaam.
Welcome again, and thank you for being here. So in this video, I just want to highlight the power of prayer and the power of we who are the children of God, the power that we have that is available to us through prayer. We're going to be looking at some different scenarios that happened where it seemed as though the witchcraft was working. It seemed as though the witchcraft was winning. But when prayer stepped into the picture, that changed everything. Imagine being so wicked and so evil as to be watering a plant that the purpose for you watering that plant would be to cause fibroids to grow in someone's womb, in their uterus, to prevent them from having children. You are watering that plant with that in mind, that this person will not be able to reproduce. So that is such a wicked and evil thing to do. Many women who may be struggling to conceive, it may not even be something medical. Maybe you've done all the operations you can do. You did every suggestion in the book, but still. And that's because some ailments, some things that seem to be natural disorders may very well be spiritual. But look at the power of prayer. After the deliverance came, that same witchcraft that was used to send those fibroids to that woman's womb went right back to the sender. It went right back to the sender. And that's the thing with people who dabble in witchcraft. One of the things that they don't understand is that could come right back to you. In the same way that you sent it after someone else, it could come right back and land at your doorstep.
And the hurting bit of it is when my grandmother died, my auntie was not willing to stop witchcraft, and she wanted to have everything that my grandmother had, including my dad's inheritance, which was the land that his dad left for him. So she started now from where my grandmother stopped, and she started sending witchcraft to us, and my parents started losing, making mega losses, to the point of failing to stay in town, to longing to go to the village to survive. And my mom, because she knew it was spiritual, no matter what she went through, she intensified on prayer. She mobilized intercessors, and they were being led to go to my auntie and tell her it's time we want to come back to our land. And my auntie went to a witch doctor and started performing witchcraft, and she wanted my mom to go blind. Because when my mom goes blind, she'll be at her mercies. She'll be pretending like she's taking care of her, yet she wants to finish her, because she knows my mother is the pillar of the family through prayer. Just like the other woman was holding the family, the husband and the children and their business in prayer. So my mom was that pillar. In every family, there is that pillar, there is that person who is holding it in prayer, So when my mom's eye condition became bad, she still continued in prayer. Little did she know that this time God is going to come through for her. And my auntie, I don't even celebrate, but she lost her sight instead. We found out she had been getting my clothes, my hair, my nails, and she had piled them in a bottle, and on top of the bottle they had put a skin of an animal and tied with a rubber, and she had put charms and buried at the entry of the house. So she had buried all my blessings, everything for Erica, photos, my clothes. She would cut pieces of clothes.
That was the point of contact.
Yes, and every time she would wake up in the morning, she made it upon herself to make evil declarations about my life. And me, I was falling sick while my mother was losing her sight.
That's an evil form of wisdom. That's an evil type.
Yeah, but now, through prayer, when she lost her sight, she went through to different witch doctors. They say this kind of witchcraft cannot be reversed. When they were giving it to you, they told you if you misuse it, it's going to come back to you and it can't be reversed. Then she went to a hospital. They said your eyes are blind beyond repair. There's nothing we can do to fix your eyes. And then now she goes to the pastors. They tell her you have to confess to the person that you are trying to hurt. So she comes to my mom, blind. They drive her to my mom, and she confesses, I wanted you blind. I wanted to take your land. And I'm not the only one who was bewitching your daughter. I put this under at the entry of the house. Erica's everything I had held, all her blessings. So I never wanted her to amount to anything, because when I look at her, I see her star is bright. So I wanted to dim every possible light on her life. And please help me bring my eyesight back.
There we see someone else dabbling with witchcraft again, and she wanted someone to be blind. How wicked, how evil is that? And guess what? That same blindness that she wanted to send after that lady, it came right back directly to her. And again, she was the one who was delivered through the power of prayer. So we must never, never neglect prayer. We must never think that prayer is not important for us as children of God, that we can just, we can just show up at church and we can just, live our lives without thinking about prayer. Prayer is very important to us as children of God, and we ought to make it our first priority. I'm not saying that there are times when we will not be tired or maybe something might come up, but you always jump right back on. You never let it just trail with weeks and weeks of not praying. That could never be the lifestyle of someone who says that they are a child of God. It just never could be.
There is a woman who went to my grandma. She wanted to bewitch her husband to love her alone, because they had suffered and now they were beginning to make progress. So she wanted the man to stick to her alone, because when men, according to her, she says, when men get money, they start looking for younger women, and then they forget us who have suffered. So I want you to help me make him stick to me. And here is my auntie who is attending to the altar, and she's been single, and she's found out that this guy in the neighborhood has money. So what they decided to do was to make this man impotent every time he goes to the woman, grandmother and my aunt. So whenever he goes to his wife, he would not be normal, like he will not function as a man. Then whenever he goes out, he's functioning. So that's how my auntie wanted to come into the picture and take their money, because the man will be frustrated whenever he goes to the wife. There's no union, and then when he goes out, he's a normal man. So now, when this woman found out that the person she trusted with her secret is actually interested in her man, and they also have diabolical powers, she got saved. And she went to church and confessed, and they started praying. And when they started praying, grandmother decided, okay, so you've started praying, I'm going to put a charm at the door at night when they're sleeping, because they were neighbors. So I'll see how you successfully go to the church again. My grandmother went with the charms. She planted at their entry, and she made declarations when they are sleeping. God protects us in the night when our enemies are active. So my grandmother,
while men slept.
Yes. Yeah. So my grandmother plants the witchcraft, and she accidentally is the woman who's supposed to jump that witchcraft. My grandmother forgot that she had planted it there, and she jumped it herself. She came back and she started having issues with the leg. Those people who serve the enemy suffer a lot. She bewitched herself this time.
So this wife wants her husband to stick to her alone. She tries to get witchcraft. She tries to perform witchcraft in order to keep him to herself. Goes to the wrong person who actually wants her husband for himself as well. And look what the outcome is. When he comes to you, he can't perform. But when he goes outside, the same thing that you didn't want. Again, we see the importance of not dabbling in witchcraft. It is really, really something, it's something that we should not touch at all. We should just keep far away from anything that has to do with evil. Stay away from evil. You're setting a trap for someone. You're setting a trap to make things better for yourself. Little do you know that can come right back and backfire on you, because the kingdom of darkness does not want good things for you. There's always a price attached to anything that the kingdom of darkness would give to you, and it's never a good ending. It's never a good outcome. It may seem good, but in the end, just wait, you'll see. Just wait, you'll see, will never be a good outcome. And yet another incident where the witchcraft was sent back. So you set your charm over someone's door, hoping for a certain outcome. And here it is that you fell into your own pit. You fell into your own trap, as God would have it. That's why it's important to not set traps for people, not set stumbling blocks for people, and to not dabble in witchcraft at all. So here she is, setting up her witchcraft, hoping for a certain person to fall into it, and she's the one that ended up falling into it herself. How many witches fall into their own traps? And a lot of them probably end up dead.
Yeah, one time our grandmother had still visited us, and my dad, before he learned that life is spiritual, he was a Christian, but not very prayerful. So he would take us to go and watch soccer, and he was a fan of the Red Devils. So, so we would go with our dad.
The Red Devils is what? Manchester United?
Yes. So we would go to watch the Red Devils scoring. So now we left my mom. we left my mom. We left my mom. She had just been operated, and she was very sick. But because we needed to watch the Red Devils, we left our mom in the in that condition with my grandmother. And my grandmother wanted to use that as an opportunity to kill my mom. But my mom remained in the bedroom praying while my grandmother was in the guest room. So that night, because my mom would not lock the door, when you've come from surgery, if you lock the door, it is risky. They can knock, and then you fail to open because of the back, the spinal cord. You know how they inject it. So my mom was in that condition. She could not move, so she left the door open without a lock. Anybody could access it. But she stayed on that bed praying. She just felt in her spirit she needs to pray, and she doesn't know why. And God blinded my grandmother. My grandmother walked around the house looking for my mom's bedroom, and she was bypassing it. To the time we came back from supporting the Red Devils. And she said, I have failed to get to the room where Bena is. How did I miss that room? We found my mother on the bed praying, So people who despise prayer, they underestimate prayer. They don't know the power that they have. The church is powerful. God has given us power over Satan. He said, I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. And then you're crying that the enemy is torturing you. The enemy is taking advantage of your ignorance.
And your prayerlessness.
Because you have no idea. It's like you have a gun, but you don't know how to operate it. And your enemy comes, he knows how to operate the gun, so he would take advantage of the fact that you don't know how to use that gun.
No. He comes and starts insulting your gun. He starts telling you that your gun is a useless weapon. And you look at the gun, you say, you know what? It is useless. And you turn on the TV and start watching movies instead of using that gun to open fire.
Yeah, at the enemy. So it's even possible for the enemy to grab that same gun from you and use it against you because you don't know how to operate it. If your enemy has submuscles, they can twist your arm and take that gun from your hand. But if you know how to operate the gun, then the enemy cannot have any access to your life. So that is the way we are as Christians. If you don't know how to pray and how to apply the word of God to your life, and all you know is to put the Bible under the pillow at night and sleep, the enemy will take advantage of you as you put your head on top of the Bible. He will start strangling you on that same on that same pillow when the Bible is under your pillow. As long as it is not in your spirit, it's like you have the weapon, but you don't know how to use it. So he will take advantage of your ignorance.
You see the power of God right here, because she went to that house with the intention to kill. But that woman was in prayer. Erica's mom was in prayer. So even though she was right at that house, guess what? She could not find her. She could not find her. You see the power of the Most High God? That your enemy can be right there where you are, and they still cannot find you, because guess what? He hides us. He covers us so that the enemy cannot find us. You're going around and around, but you still cannot see who you're looking for, because the power of the Most High, through the power of prayer, protects and covers those who are His. I just want to encourage my brothers and sisters to keep in prayer and in fervent, effective, fireful prayer, because that is the type of prayer that knocks out the enemy. When the enemy is trying to find you, they're plotting schemes, they're plotting to kill you. They can pass right next to you, and they still have not been able to find you. They cannot see you because our God has blocked them. They think that they have power. The real power comes from the Most High God. The real power comes from the one who created everything. That is where the power lies. And one thing I know for sure, they will never have power like Him. His power is the one to which all powers bow down. His throne is the one to which all thrones bow down. But His throne bows to no throne, and His power bows to no power. Who could be like Him? I'm here warning souls. Life is spiritual, just as the name of this channel where I'm reviewing these videos from. That's the name of their channel. Life is spiritual. Our entire life is spiritual. Everything that we do, everything that we're involved in, it's a spiritual battle that's going on every single minute, every single second of our lives. And for those of us who don't realize and we're just living this life like, oh, whatever, we are those are the ones who are really true targets for the enemy, because your soul is just not even covered. Except you have a mother who's prayerful, or a family member who truly prays for you. But your soul is exposed to the enemy, and he can take you out anytime. He can do as he pleases with you, because guess what? There's no covering on your soul. Think about your life. Think about your soul. Know that one day you will give an account to Jesus Christ for your soul, regardless of what anybody says. Regardless of if you consider yourself to be an atheist, what you can call yourself any name you want. You still have a soul, and that does not change because you say, "Well, I'm an atheist." You're an atheist with a soul, and one day you will give an account. You will give an account for the life that you led while you were in the flesh. So think about that carefully before you end up in a place where there are no exits. There are many ways to enter there, but guess what? There's zero exits to that place. Choose life. Jesus came to this earth, he died, he shed his blood so that we don't have to pay that hefty price for all of eternity. How sad it is to go to that place, despite the fact that you did not have to go there, just because of your own arrogance. Just because of your own arrogance. I'm warning you to choose life. He has set before us life and death, and he also urges us to choose life. Thank you for being here, and until next time.